Do you think Trump can actually end the Fed?
I think he can. And I know that Trump is behind this. I know that Trump believes in gold and silver. I know that he believes that the dollar is about to lose its status as the world's reserve currency. And for the first time, okay, I've been talking about CBDCs being gold back for the last couple of years now, but you never really hear it on mainstream media. You hear about it on podcasts like this, which to me are more important than mainstream media if you find the right ones like this one. And it was only this last weekend that I've actually heard Fox News report that Donald Trump is saying he will implement 100% tariff on any countries that try to de-dollarize, and that's what the BRICS nations are doing. They have the simple goal of de-dollarizing the entire globe and moving to a gold-backed central bank digital currency.
Hi, Discover Church family. It's Pastor Steve here, and we're talking about the red horse of war, the black horse of famine. And I thought it would be great to get some expertise on the financial world, banking world, and how to fight this crazy inflation that the Biden administration has put all over the earth. Everywhere I go, people are just complaining they can't afford food, they can't afford stuff. What can we do? So I just want you to welcome Andrew Sorchini over from the West Coast, a man who's been highly, highly recommended to me by General Flynn. He's a friend and advisor for General Flynn, Kash Patel, Clay Clark. Everybody loves him. So I'm all the way at the end of the game here, getting you on. You are very, very highly respected. So please introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Pastor Steve. I'm blessed to be here and happy to do it as well. So yeah, I've been doing this for almost 40 years. I got involved working for a coin shop back in 1985. It was my first job when I was 15 years old, and the way that it even started is that my parents had moved to a new home that was across the street from a shopping mall. So all we had to do was just hop over the back wall and go to the shopping mall. I'd go there with a pocket full of quarters and play video games, and the money runs out quickly. Then I go hang out in the coin shop and watch what the people were doing. And I couldn't believe it. I saw with my own eyes just people pull out big stacks of cash and buy gold. And I remember asking the owners, like, why do people trade dollars for gold? I mean, are they collectors? He goes, no, they're not collectors. I go, but I just don't understand it. And I hung around long enough to realize that these people were preparing, that gold and silver are God's money, and they have been the world's money for thousands of years. And many people feel that gold and silver are the only tangible asset out there that is the true currency of the world. So I was just fascinated, and I worked there for 9 years. And then I went off on my own. I was working part-time as a coin dealer. And then in 2010, I really ramped it up. We hired a lot of people. We got involved with some of the ministries. That was good. But it was really 4 years ago when everything changed. That's when I met a lot of the people that you're friends with. And you mentioned General Flynn and Kash Patel and Eric and Laura Trump. And we've just, it's amazing. What seemed like a monotonous job for me, something that was like almost boring, all of a sudden had purpose when I really got involved with the ministries. Now, what I do every day, it touches people in a way where they feel that they're being educated on how to protect their families. And that's what I've been doing for almost 40 years.
Well, what you mentioned there about protecting families, this is not even theory anymore. You know, we hear it in Revelation 13 that the Antichrist or the beast system is going to stop people from buying and selling. And like for years, for decades, people couldn't imagine, for centuries, people couldn't imagine, how can you control somebody's money, right? Money is gold and silver. And some of those people, like General Flynn, he was debanked. One of them, you know, America's general was debanked. Sidney Powell was debanked. Then they harassed you with all sorts of lawsuits here in the United States. And you were a big part of like really saving his finances. Can we say it that way?
Oh, absolutely. It's so we know everything that happened with General Flynn being persecuted by the U.S. government, and he lost everything. And it's through us carrying the message through him and together as partners that we've been able to teach people about gold and silver and how it can help protect against inflation and many other things. And it's helped him in his life. And but he did get debanked by Chase. And I have to tell you that the big banks out there, they're very, very, very worried about cryptocurrency and gold and silver. Those are, if you go into a bank to send a wire transfer to fund a cryptocurrency account or to buy gold and silver, the banks will actually play games with their own customers and try to scare them out of it, saying things like, "Are you sure it's not a scam? Are you sure that this is for real?" And they act like they care, but really they're being told from the management up top, don't let these transactions go through if you can do something about it, and stop it at all costs. And we've even had them close people's bank accounts before. It's only happened a couple of times, but that's a little bit drastic. And that's what happened with General Flynn. And I heard also happened with Laura Trump. And I've also heard that Barron Trump has had a hard time getting an account open.
Yeah, well, now that his father is president, I think that should be changing. But you know the tone, the tenor, the trend, where they're going, and when Trump is not in power, it's all going to come back. So we're just getting a reprieve to prepare. And I'll tell you this from my audience: I've got a spectrum of audience. I've got those who are not, let's just say, not very financially educated, to those who are just extremely wealthy. And I can tell you for the wealthy side, that a lot of people are like, as soon as they make fiat money, they're trying to convert it as soon as possible, get this fake money, this like monopoly money. I've got some different monopoly money to show you, okay? This is Thai baht, this is Korean won. I got all sorts of things when I travel. I got the Malaysian ringgit. I mean, look at the color, huh? So pretty. And I got the Japanese yen here. I mean, I kept this Japanese yen bill for probably 10 years. By the time I got back to Japan, it had fallen in value so much because the yen economy, the Japanese economy is dropping. So to the wealthy, this is like paper, toy money, monopoly money. We say that in jest, but Robert Kiyosaki will say, cash is trash. And most people are fighting for this, trying to make money, this paper money. So the wealthy are taking this kind of paper money, and as soon as possible, they want to convert it to something that's a real asset. So you mentioned cryptocurrency, gold, land, right? Maybe businesses. So this is a mentality of a prepper. You know that something is going to happen to this, just like this. I'm holding it up. How about the Turkish lira, right? Is it called the lira? It went down 70%. The ruble's down 30%. This, in their country, this is all, money. And yet in the US, we imagine, oh, our money's never going to go down. Well, it's inflating in a rapid rate. So wealthy people are converting their paper money, fiat money, into real assets. And one of it is what you're partnering with General Flynn and others. And it sounds awesome. So I actually have hesitated for a long time to bring any perspective on gold and silver because honestly, I just didn't trust. I didn't know if you buy gold, you're going to have it in some vault far away that you never touch. Is it really there or not? But you came so highly recommended. Just assure our people, like, how do you know when you buy gold, you're getting the real thing? Where are you going to store it?
It's these are great questions. Do you know that only about 1% of Americans understand the value that gold and silver can have in your portfolio? That's next to nothing. And most of them have concerns that are exactly like the concerns that you've just given. So typically, if people do invest in gold and silver through us, we will ship the gold fully insured directly to you. So we've got you covered financially, insured in every way until you sign for it. Then once you get it, you need to put it in a safe or somewhere that you and your family know where it's at and not tell anybody about it. For some people, we offer a storage option, but it's not here at our company. We use a firm called Delaware Depository, And you can, we help people set up accounts there. It's just a one-page application. You fill it out. You can put in a beneficiary on there. So if something happens to you, you can leave it to your family, and it bypasses probate, which is a really great thing, because when you lose a loved one, not only are you hurting and in pain, your whole family is, and you don't want to have to deal with financial stuff, but we always have to. And it feels bad when we do have to deal with it, but somebody's got to do it in the family. So we make it easy by letting people have a beneficiary. Also, if it's stored at our third party storage and you need to sell some of it back, then it's as simple as us emailing you a form that you sign. It transfers a product from your account into ours. We have a storage account there. We ship most of our product from the depository directly to our clients. So that way we have them take care of the shipping and the insurance, and it's a really great thing. But if you need to sell back, you can just sell it to us from your holdings there to our holdings there. And it's so easy. And these aren't reported transactions. These are completely private, and people love that.
Yeah, that's something that I'm learning just by talking to you. I've gone up to Mount Sinai, which I believe is in the real ones in Saudi Arabia, 4 times. A miracle happened almost each time. And I did not ask this. I did not tell anyone. Somebody was asking me to pray for their mine. They actually have like a place where they got gold mine, And so I said, I'll pray for you, for your business. And when I got to the top of Mount Sinai, somebody turned to me and said, "Hey, Pastor Steve, I got something for you." And he gave me a gold bar. Right now, this bar is a pretty thin bar, but it's still, I hold it as precious because it was an act of faith. I got this gold bar. So would this be about an ounce? Yeah, this is 1 ounce of pure gold. And I also got a Canadian maple leaf here. That's pure gold. That's what 1 ounce looks like. It's very heavy.
Yep.
But you were telling me something about this. What's the difference between this and what you are recommending to protect people's wealth?
So those are beautiful coins, and the bar is beautiful as well. Those are what is considered bullion, and bullion is any gold or silver item that says right on the item itself how much gold or silver is in that item. So for example, both of those say 1 ounce of gold. Well, what we always recommend is that you go with the non-reportable assets. So here's an example. Okay. Up until 1964, all of the dimes, quarters, and half dollars that we used to spend in our change had silver in them.
I remember. I remember touching those. They're out of circulation now.
Yeah, they're out of circulation. And if you're lucky, you could find one.
Here's a silver dollar.
Yeah,
Pure silver. That's what a dollar is.
That is
used to be.
Exactly. That's a beautiful silver eagle. It's the most popular silver coin out there here in America. So the old coins are not reportable. They're considered to be semi-collectible. Their value is based solely on its silver content, and same for the gold counterparts. So up until 1933, gold circulated in change as well. So when you went to the bank, let's say you got paid $30 for the week, and it's 1920. Okay. The year 1920. So you cash your check, and they say, "Okay, how would you like it? How would you like your money?" You could take gold, or you could take paper currency. But back then, the paper currency was backed by gold. So really, they were pushing the currency because they knew the gold is where the real value is. Okay. So those old coins, okay, $20 gold pieces, $10 gold pieces, they're all non-reportable. And they're nice to look at, and they don't cost much more than the actual gold content that is in them. So that's what we recommend that people get. And when people reach out to do a consultation with us, that's what we direct them towards.
So it's not the shape. Yeah. It's not that this is a coin, therefore it's reportable. Even like this, I have a silver bar here. It says 5 ounce. I have a silver bar. Somebody gave that to me. Silver bar. I'm so blessed, I'm not even thinking about these things. But I preach about it. I say, you got to prepare. And I have a 5 ounce silver bar. Now, obviously, these are in different shapes. It's not about the shape. These are reportable, is it?
They are.
Okay.
But in an emergency situation, they're still okay to have. So let's say that you were someone that was in the situation that happened with the flooding in North Carolina, in the mountain area, that happened recently. Okay. If that happened, not everybody out there is going to help you for free. They're not all Christians and God-loving individuals that are going to help their neighbors. Some people will only help if you give them something for it. And sometimes you might find yourself in a situation where you do have to buy something. Well, you can't give them a credit card. There's no credit card machines. You couldn't go to an ATM in the middle of a flood. If you have silver or gold and you need to buy something, then you can transact with it. And that's what people think would happen in a true emergency situation.
Okay, so you've spoken something great because I believe God gives pre-warnings. You have a hurricane that was supposed to come to Florida and misses us, goes up to Georgia, North Carolina, 200 people die, homes are wrecked. You need to have an emergency pack. Number one, you're saying some silver and gold. Number two, I would say only the people with satellite phone could reach their friends and family at that time. So we recommend satellite phone. The links are in the description box below the YouTube channel. And food, you got to have some long life food. If you just have these three things, and of course a Bible, you got to have your Bible, you got to have your faith, strengthen your faith, know how to pray, reach God. And these four things, that should be like in an emergency suitcase.
Exactly. Exactly. Just something that's like a go bag, something that you could take with you, or if you have somewhere on your property where you could go underground, whatever you need to do, but you do need it for an emergency. But what I like about this is I call gold and silver portfolio insurance. Okay. But for me, it's better than any other insurance out there because let's compare it to, say, car insurance. Okay. You might pay $1,500 a year or $2,000 a year for car insurance. And then after a year, if you don't get in an accident and don't have any insurance claims, you don't get your money back. They renew and you have to pay again. But with gold and silver, okay, we're buying this for emergency purposes and a hedge against inflation. If there's no emergency, we still have it and we don't have to pay again. So I think it's the best kind of insurance out there.
Wow, that's a very interesting way to say it because insurance is just like you just flush it down the toilet if you don't have an accident. But this is insurance that always increases in value. It's transferable. Um, okay, well, we've got a lot of Christians that watch us, and I just want to ground this in the Word of God. Let me give you some scriptures because I studied this a long time ago before I became a pastor, but a lot of people might not know. Gold is mentioned in the Bible about 400 times. Did you know that?
I've heard different numbers, but I know that there's one that is Haggai. It's the gold and silver are mine, saith the Lord.
Yes, he
Right?
does say that. So if it's his, then it's not a bad thing, right?
Yep. It's in there. It has nowhere in the Bible does it say that the U.S. dollar bill is going to get you the freedom, the financial freedom that you need. It's not in there.
Right.
Currencies come and go, but gold
Right.
and silver is always there.
They sure do. When I lived in France, I kept some of the French francs, and I was so surprised when I got to Europe the next time. Um, my French francs were worthless. They were worthless. Unbelievable. So this happens within our lifetime. This is not something in history. It's happening now. So let me give you the first reference for gold in the Bible. This is the first time God speaks about gold, something that he had made. And he wanted us to know in Genesis 2, verse 11, the name talks about these rivers. There are four rivers in the Garden of Eden. The first is Pishon. It is the one that flowed around the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. Interesting. And then in verse 12 of chapter 2, just in case we're wondering, God says, and the gold of that land is good. He doesn't have to put any description on it, no adjective needed. There's gold, okay? But he says the gold is good. Because one day we're going to be deceived into thinking that gold is not good and fiat money is great. The second mention in the Bible is concerns the father of our faith, Abraham, Genesis 13. The Bible says Abram was very rich. Okay, are we meaning spiritually? It says he was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. We go on to Solomon, who was called the wisest man on earth, and his wealth included vast amounts of gold. And it was depicted in the Bible as a symbol or a sign of divine wisdom and divine favor. You find that in 1 Kings 10. You look at how gold was specified in the construction of God's sacred places, temple, the tabernacle and the temple, both were adorned in gold. It signified holiness. Finally, in heaven, gold is in heaven. If gold is bad, why is gold in heaven? In Revelation, there's a heavenly city, the New Jerusalem, whose streets are paved with pure gold like transparent glass. And I hear that the cockpits of fighter jets are kind of like shielded in gold and it's transparent. I mean, how did they know that back then, 2,000 years ago? Lastly, I just want to mention that in case people say, well, that's all, Old Testament. Well, Revelation is not Old Testament. But the first mention of gold in the New Testament is associated with Jesus as a baby. Matthew chapter 2, we quote this. We're coming up to Christmas. Chapter 2, verse 11. This is a Christmas scripture. And when they had come, the Magi's had come into the house. They saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented him gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And we're going to release a video about the health benefits of frankincense and myrrh. That's coming up too. That's in fact, by the time you see this, I think that will be out on our YouTube channel. We're just taking the Bible and trying to present it to people. All the answers are in the Bible. We're just kind of asleep to it for some reason because we believe religion instead. But gold is real money. It's a symbol of wealth. It's often associated with divinity, royalty, purity. It has inherent value because it's indestructible. It's the least corruptible element, least reactive. It's non-toxic. You can actually eat gold. I've actually had desserts with gold, like a face mask or lotions with gold. It's useful in electronics due to its conductivity and it's luxurious in its appearance. So there's a lot there in the Bible about gold. What do you say? Is gold coming back? Do you think there could be a gold-backed CBDC? Could there be a gold-backed currency? I think Saddam Hussein tried it, and what's his name that got knocked off as well by Hillary Clinton? Gaddafi. He
Yeah.
tried to do a gold-backed dinar. I mean, it seems like a dangerous thing to even be proposing. Where do you think we stand in terms of CBDCs and any gold-backed currency?
Okay. I actually think that it's coming. So just so that people understand like a little bit of history, there's in the early 1970s, actually 1971, we officially went off of the gold standard, and the United States created the Federal Reserve. Well, it's not federal, and there is no reserve. So
Mm.
it's literally just a company that was just made up to be in charge of us printing money here. And
Well,
that's
tell me this. Do you think Trump can actually end the Fed? Do you think that's going to wreak havoc, or he's got to go around that?
I think he can. And I know that Trump is behind this. I know that Trump believes in gold and silver. I know that he believes that the dollar is about to lose its status as the world's reserve currency. And for the first time, okay, I've been talking about CBDCs being gold backed for the last couple of years now, but you never really hear it on mainstream media. You hear about it on podcasts like this, which to me are more important than mainstream media if you find the right ones like this one. And it was only this last weekend that I've actually heard Fox News report that Donald Trump is saying he will implement 100% tariff on any countries that try to de-dollarize, and that's what the BRICS nations are doing. They have the simple goal of de-dollarizing the entire globe and moving to a gold-backed central bank digital currency. And knowing America and what we tend to do, I do think we are the best country out there, and I think we will come up with something that's better than that. And just one final comment on that. Donald Trump said in an interview with Tucker Carlson, if the United States were to lose their status of being the world's reserve currency, that would be greater than losing any war. So I know that he takes this stuff seriously. The debt is 30 something trillion dollars, with just the interest being at more than $1 trillion a year now. Where we're headed financially as a country, if we keep carrying that kind of debt, is not good. So we need a reset. And I think a gold-backed digital dollar might be the answer.
Wow. Wow. So like people kept saying BRICS was a big threat. I never felt that in my spirit. I never said a big thing. In none of my podcasts, I talk about politics, economics, spirituality, prophecy. And I just never felt from the Lord that we have a big concern about BRICS. Let them do what they may. because America could just flip the switch and say, here it is, here's a gold-backed digital currency.
I love that perspective because it's like, I believe that everything is already planned out anyway. So it's like, okay, great. These people, these countries are de-dollarizing the globe. Great. So we don't just lay down and say they beat us. No, you just one up them. And that's what you just said. And that's what I think we're going to do here.
That's
So
interesting. So
yeah.
tell me what's going to happen. I'm holding, the most coveted piece of paper in the world, the US $100 bill, the old Benjamin here. What's going to happen if you have a stash of these? Do they say just trade this in? Does it drop in value? What would be the steps in hypothetically that would lead people to let go of this and end up using the digital dollar, which we then, in prophecy, we think that eventually leads to the beast system. But it's like anything, when we change from, let's say, silver and gold to paper money. I mean, that's one step to the corruption of money. Then you go to credit cards. That's another step. But I don't think yet we're going to see the beast system like this year or the next year. But yeah, tell us about this piece of paper. Like, what does this mean to you and what's going to happen to it?
So in my opinion, it's a 10-year clock where the changeover from that $100 bill having the value that it has today having no value at all. It will take the better part of 10 years. And that clock's already started.
That can you just pause for a second? You know that God has given me the word 10 years, the next 10 years. I'm going to actually put that in a book. I have a Christian publisher that wants me to tell people what's going to happen in the next 10 years. And I keep telling people, put the brakes on your rapture, theory or fantasy. We're not rapturing this month or next month or next year. There's at least 10 years coming, and it's going to take at least 10 years for them to do that. I just heard confirmation from Andrew Sorchini. Please take it away.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. And here's how I know that that's going to happen exactly that way. Back in 1933, okay, this is in the middle of the Great Depression, people were hoarding gold because we didn't know what was going to happen to our country. It was so bad, people didn't have money to eat. And FDR at that point outlawed gold. You were only allowed to keep $100 face value. So if you had a $20 gold piece or $10 gold pieces, you could only have $100 face value worth of gold. Anything above that, you needed to march yourself into the bank by a certain date and exchange it for paper currency that was gold backed. So then the banks were just holding all the gold in vaults, and it wasn't legal for you to own gold back then. So it's happened before. I don't think it'll happen again because now we're more in a society where taxation is prevalent. And I think that's why it's important to own gold and silver that is not reportable, stuff that only you and the person you bought it from have it. But just to finish answering your question, that process of going away from gold coinage to only paper currency and then coins that didn't have gold, that took the better part of 10 years. So as we move from coins and dollar bills and start to pay for things digitally instead of a credit card or in addition to credit card, that'll be a few years, but the process has already begun and we can't stop it. And then just one more thing. If you see the young people that are, under 30 years old, really the teens to 20 somethings, all day long, they're staring at their phones. And anything that they could do in their life, if they could use their phone for it, it makes them happy. I don't think that they're not like me and you, Pastor Steve, where we've spent the majority of our lives. You walk around with some bills in your pocket. You go and you pay for something with those bills. You have coins. You pay for things with those coins, but they're dirty. They don't want to touch that stuff, and they don't have as much experience in holding this currency that you and I have. They want to use their phones, Apple Pay, different cash apps. So if they could start to pay for things with their cryptocurrency account with a coin that's gold backed, it seems like that would be the solution. And I think that's where we're headed no matter what.
So I wonder, will the young people understand the message we're trying to tell them, that gold and silver are the real money?
It's an interesting thing. I feel like we're seeing a surge of young people start to understand it. So for me, I watch all the financial markets, and I'm actually in this group called Wall Street Bets. and you might have heard of them because they're the ones that made GameStop stock go crazy. I think it went up so high, and AMC stock, and now they're into cryptocurrency. They're the ones pumping up all the different cryptocurrencies now, but they're also preaching about gold and silver on there as well. And these are mostly like young people, 20 somethings and younger. So I think that they're starting to get it after it skipped a couple of generations, because anybody that's the adult son or daughter of somebody that lived through the Great Depression, they know about gold and silver, but the generations after that don't. And then now we have these, I don't even know what they're called anymore, as far as like the age group of the people that are around 20 years old. But those people are starting to understand gold and silver. So I'm really happy to see that.
Yeah. Hey, I've got another gift from someone, a Wyoming Goldback 1/1000th of a troy ounce. I think different states make these Goldback bills. They're real pretty to look at, and they've actually got some gold in there, but I'm sure not that much. What do you think of these things?
I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of those. Do you know that 32 of the 50 states, okay, here in America, have legislation to have gold and silver be currency? They actually have that legislation. But what's happening is that nothing happens right now. It's only once we go back on the gold standard, then businesses are going to pop up everywhere that accept gold and silver through this legislation. It's there. And if you look at other businesses, like they have, you'll see like some states, once they made like cannabis legal, it was almost like right away that all these businesses started popping up. Well, the framework for those businesses had been there for decades. They were just waiting for the legislation to support what their plan was. Now, I don't think that that's necessarily a good thing, but with the gold and silver, I think it is, because you can go anywhere in the world with the coins that you have there, and the gold and the silver, and you can spend that. You can buy something with it. But you can't take a bot from Thailand and go and spend it in China. No way. They won't accept it unless you go into a place and convert it first. But the gold and silver you can spend anywhere.
Yeah, good point. So if people come to your website, please say your website, Beverly Hills, is it?
Yeah, it's bh-pm.com. So it's BH like Beverly Hills hyphen PM like precious metals.com. And we're going to set up a landing page for you, so people will be able to go on to the Pastor Steve page that'll be there. Every single page that's on there has a form that you can fill out, and you can schedule a free consultation. So you just put in your name, first name, last name, email address, phone number, how you heard about us, and under the how you heard about us part, put in promo code Pastor Steve, and that way we'll know how you learned about us. And then there's a notes section. And the note section is really great on how we're able to help people. So one thing that people put in notes all the time is, I've heard that there are precious metals IRAs, and I would like to learn how to turn my retirement account into a retirement account that holds physical gold and silver. And if that's what you want to learn, then put that in there. And just to comment on that, Pastor Steve, it's not a taxable event to convert a part or all of your retirement into gold and silver. So many people are doing it. We've helped thousands of people. So I hope that people do use the form to reach out.
There's not many things that's not taxable these days. So say that again. To convert fiat into gold is not taxable. What about converting gold back to fiat if you need to use that one day?
So if you get the non-reportable items, it's not. If you're out buying stuff like at a market, that's not taxable. If you buy $100,000 worth of gold from us and then you want to sell it back to us, if you bought the non-reportable stuff, then it's not taxable. So that's a good way to go. It really is. And just investing in gold and silver isn't like making a purchase. It's not like you went out and bought a new motorcycle. Okay, that's a purchase. Okay, so here in America, our dollars are green or blue. So you take the green you have, convert it into silver or gold. Okay, hold it for as long as you want. If you find that you need money again and want to sell that gold or silver, then you just convert it back into green. But it's like if you travel abroad and go to another country, you take your currency, you convert it for the local currency, you stay there for a few days, and when you're ready to go home, you convert it back. Gold and silver work the same way here.
Yeah, I mean, I've got, all different kinds of bills because I have to convert from this to that. The Lord sends me to all these different countries. So you're saying it's just like that. And the big lesson is any of these bullions that you can go out and buy, and I've been blessed with, thank God, these are all reportable. But yours, do they come in what shape and size do they come in?
So next time I will have some with me, but what they are is that they're going to be loose coins, sort of like the gold one that you showed. Okay, that's an actual bullion coin, but a $20 gold piece is a little bit bigger than that in diameter, and it's people used to spend them for $20. It's got an ounce of gold in it. They're going to be dated before 1933. And because some people collect them, and because they do have a small amount of collector value, that's how it bypasses the broker reporting type thing that they make us do. But if you want to sell $100,000 worth of the gold maple leafs, then we have to collect some information, and it's reported, and you'll get a 1099.
I see. Well, that's so interesting. I wanted to mention this. I love language. And the word silver well, I grew up in Thailand, and the word ngun is both silver and till today, it's the word money. If you look at the French word argent is money, but it's also the word silver. I think that's how we get the name Argentina, right? Argentina came from the word money or silver. Hebrew, they still use the word kesef, which means silver, for both silver and money. It goes down to Portuguese, Spanish, plata can be silver and money. Prata in Portuguese, argento in Italian, Catalan, argent. The Scots still say siller, and the Chinese, this is an interesting one. I looked this one up. The word silver is yin, but they don't use that anymore as synonymous with money. However, the word bank is yin hang, which is the silver house. So it gives you that historical, cultural connection between silver and banking and finance. Silver for thousands of years, until this weird aberration we're in for the last 100 years, was always money. So would you recommend that people, if they're just starting out, should they be getting like some silver, or should they be getting some gold? Maybe close off on that. What do you think is a good decision to weather the storms and the famine that's to come, financially speaking?
Well, that's such a great question, and that's why we ask people to schedule a consultation with us, because there's no cookie cutter approach to investing in gold and silver out there. But to answer that, let's say that you just sold a home, okay, one that maybe you had a rental home, and now you have a big chunk of cash that's sitting in your checking account, and you're not comfortable leaving it there, okay? I would recommend that somebody in that situation put it into gold and just hold it in gold and keep it where you can get to it until you need those funds. That way you don't need to worry about anything, okay? That's a good store of value. If you are looking to invest for the long term, okay, let's say that you think that silver today is roughly $31 an ounce. That's considered to be very cheap. People think it could go $50 or $100 fairly soon, okay? It's really hard for any of us to know, but silver's been $50 twice in history, and it's currently at $31. So I think it's safe to say that it's a good bet that it will go up in value, but you have to give it time. So if you're willing to park a few dollars there and have it be a minimum 2 years, maybe the better part of 5 years, I think you're good. So silver to me is a longer term investment than gold. We're not always just investing in them so they could go up in value. That's our secondary goal. The primary goal is to protect what we have. And as you stated, it's in the Bible so much, and I've never had anybody read all of those different examples the way that you have. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that that they're probably not watching this, but people out there that don't have faith and believe, and maybe they second guess things that they hear in the Bible. But gold it didn't have the big value back then that it has now. So for gold to be referenced so many times in the Bible, it just lends a lot of credit to everything that's in there, because they couldn't have known how important gold was going to be today when that was written. That was for that time, but it actually is. And it's just mind-blowing to me. It truly is. And I want to see more scriptures like that so that I could pass on to people, because gold and silver is and always has been the world's currency. That will never change. But in mine and your lifetime, how we buy things, that is changing.
Yeah. Well, we teach the Bible like that to our online members. I invite you, Andrew, come and you'll get feeding like that all the time. It's at discoverchurch.online. And we have such a myriad of talents in our online church. You know, we have even crypto traders, obviously, investors. We got bank owners, and I bounce ideas off of them all the time. And there's a lot of wisdom among the people of God inside of the church. So I invite you and all the listeners, if you haven't joined, watching YouTube is not online church. There's a lot more in discoverchurch.online. You've been listening to Andrew, a man who I would say deserves some credit for really helping Kash Patel, who's going to be the FBI director, General Flynn, and many others to protect and increase their wealth, protect against inflation, protect against the elite banking system that tries to deplatform and defund and debank people. And you've been very humble, but you really, I know that you've had a part in helping those men and women. And so I highly recommend people just go to that website, say that again,
Oh, it's bh-pm.com. If you need to, you can Google my name, and our website will come up. You could also put in Beverly Hills Precious Metals, just search for that, and our name will come up. But make sure that it's the one that has the picture of General Flynn when the first page comes up. And we work with several different ministries, and you'll see those on there too. But we're going to get Pastor Steve on there very, very soon.
Yeah, so you're now one of our ministry sponsors. That's really amazing, really amazing. I say thank God for your life, your ministry, what you're doing. You're helping us financially, and we want to help you spiritually. And I think we can bounce off each other's strengths in the days to come. I'm looking forward to the next couple of Trump years, how much is going to change.
Oh, I think we're going to see a lot of change, and I'm looking forward to all of it.
Praise God. Okay, well, thank you, Andrew, for being a part of this show, and we'd love to have you back again. God bless you, Discover
Thank
Church
you.
family. We'll see you next time. Keep looking up.